not Carnegie, but in that area, just around about out from Carnegie. Don't matter. Anyway, they did. You're actually right. They did have a V on them as well. They did have a V on them as well. So.
Wasn't Chad's or whatever, I don't even know.
No. It was like it's just bloody hell. It's in that Carnegie Ormond area. It's just sort of up in Caulfield, Carnegie. There was a team up there. It was not a particularly good Trongs team, but it was up there. That particular one as well. So yeah, I've got some photos here. I don't know whether this is any good to you. So let's have a look. This was. Now, this was the opening of the stand there. I mean, they're pretty shitty things, but that's myself and my grandson there. Ted's grandson, my son, in there as well.
Did you let him loose in a bomber jumper?
Oh, his mother's hopeless, bloody hell. Look, I've already been on the bloody website already trying to get in and get the fourth one in as well. I mean, we actually registered his son, Ben's son, now Sam is 3, didn't have a name, this trendy idea of, wait for a while until the kid's name, or think about it for 24 hours or something, so we get onto it and he got as an estimate member of GC3, that's it came back, it's Golden Child 3, you see, so it's just nonsense there. So that's my brother, that's myself, this is under 13 side that Mel McLaughlin coached a number of years, that would have been 1963, 64, 65.
The Hills Hoist in the background?
Yeah, that's our place, that's our home there. Used to be huge parties there with a footy club. They used to put up this huge tent. That's how they used to raise their dough. It was like a slight grog shop in those days. He was, Mel McLaughlin was also in the first premiership side.
Okay.
There's Dave Nico there. Paul Moore, a number of the boys there. That was the under 15 side that Dad coached. They won a premiership. That one. It's interesting. That premiership side 67's not in the records that I could when I had looked through it.
On the website?
No, it's not there.
We'll fix it because he does the website.
Oh, I'll get you that. Yeah, have a look at that, Ian, because there's 67 under 15 side, which Ted coached.
Okay.
He's in there as well.
Because what happened, there's a lot of records between the SCSFL and the amateurs.
Yeah.
The SCSFL, you can't get any records from them.
Really?
I've
gone,
written to them, I've written to
burned.
them. They've passed me on to who's the guy that does the Pittman, that does the local footy show and all that. Daryl Pittman. He can't help. No, there's no records.
Yeah.
Which is a shame. So
Well,
we're just relying on.
On stuff like that. Well, I mean, this is actually, that was the captain of the side, a guy called John Edwards. In there, under 15, 67.
Yeah.
That's the team.
Evan, if you can give me captain, coach, and even if it's a scores.
That's the actual thing. They used to go up in George Struce's window. The milk bar. There used to be 3 milk bars at Seaview, and the shop that is now the Harvest Fair shop or something up there. In there. Yep. That used to be a milk bar. George used to be secretary of the club.
And that's Wayne Judson.
That's Wayne Judson. Yeah. In there, and that was a team that. Do
you mind if I take these?
Yeah, of course, mate. Yeah,
absolutely.
Absolutely. This is Ron White. He was the coach of the under-17s at the time. It's myself. It's actually my 100th game. They stuffed that up in there. That's Johnny Edwards. I was the captain of that side in there, and I'm pretty sure I'm saying that in there was the first junior player to play 100 games at Bowie. And in there, so then there was I think the first one's Mick Kirkby, and then Bobby Thompson, and then I think Luxembourg. Anyway, doesn't matter. But in there as well, and also in '63, Andy Sholto was the captain of the under-13s.
Yep.
First guy to run out on the ground for Bowie ever.
Okay.
In there, because that would have been in the morning. That would have been about 9:30 go to the morning.
Would we have any footage of that?
Wouldn't have any footage.
Photo.
That's the premiership side that we're talking about in '67. So that's got to be up on the wall there, somewhere here.
I don't know if I've I'm not sure if I've ever seen that.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, hang on. Who's the blokes in there? Yes, I've got that.
Yeah.
P. Armour. I remember
Yeah, P.
looking at
Armour,
who
yeah.
these...
Yeah, Chris Sharp in there. Those guys should know. It's Dave Nico.
We've got this.
Yeah.
I probably haven't passed it on yet. Because we did
Jody.
was scan
Scott
on these
Johnson,
that
yeah.
couldn't fit on the knot. We had
Yeah.
a big scan on
Yeah.
one we did in pieces, and I've been splicing them together
Yeah.
again.
So that's that piece in there. In there. Let's have a look. There, that's there.
Wouldn't have to get them again, just to be sure.
That's the
Pretty
one,
certain
that's the one you showed me.
But
Just
we
a-
have got it. Okay.
That's the first under 15 site that ever played. So that's 63.
Yeah,
Mhm.
we've certainly got that one.
Yeah, and that's the first under 15 side. So there'll be, I know there's photos for each of those.
Where was the photo taken?
At the ground, you can see that's
So
the ground
what
Who's
grade
this
are we
boy?
looking at?
You know,
there. That's Paul Hankinson.
he's a big lad, isn't he? For looks at
Yeah,
under 15.
under 15 had some of the bigger ones there as well.
So was that looking across to...
that's where I reckon the
eight-
coaches
eight-
boxes are now.
yeah,
Just about there. I
okay.
reckon that'd
Yeah.
split the coaches boxes in half now.
Mm, okay.
I'd reckon there.
And what was at the ground what was before the ground?
It was just an empty sort of area. It was an oval. I don't think the cricketers even played there. Had played there. I could be wrong with that. Certainly the tennis club was never there as well. The ground had no fence in there when we first started playing.
They said that, because I was talking to Johnny Lowell
Yeah.
yesterday, and he said the ground was actually bigger than it is now.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Massive.
Oh huge. Oh no, it was huge. And then my understanding is that his dad was involved in it. My understanding is that it's the same size as the MCG
Now or back then?
now.
Right. Okay.
It was bigger then, and it didn't have a fence on.
I've looked at it. It is very close to the dimension
Yeah,
of the MCG.
yeah.
It might be ever so slightly shorter.
Now I think and I think a little bit of that might have happened at one stage when they did some of the drainage, and I think when the pine trees at the back were planted in the 60s in there, because the guy in the house, if you look at it that way, the guy on the right hand side there, all the footage used to go into his house, and he's getting really pissed off.
So that's why they planted.
That's why they put the pine trees up there. So the bloody pine trees.
You can't knock them down there.
Yeah, I mean, and they were like pretty much vermin in a sense, but the only the guys, the old bloke said, well, we can't keep doing this and that, and then so that's why they put the pine trees in there, because they knew they'd grow quick, and they'd stop this bloke complaining because he used to pinch the footies and put a knife into them.
They'll fall over before too much longer. Those pine trees, they're getting to that,
Yeah.
that age, 50.
Do you find it ironic that the night we're having the anniversary is actually the Brisbane Lions Hall of Fame next door?
Is that right?
Yeah,
Is that right? I wasn't even aware of that.
Yeah.
Go figure.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, go figure. Yeah, I do find that ironic, because he was a passionate Fitzroy man.
So make sure you walk into the right...
Yeah, walking to the right place. This was excuse the guys. I think this is a great caricature. This was done of him in '64. So that's the year after the first year.
So that's Graham Eldred.
Mm-hmm.
There's a Kirkby.
Yeah, that's Bo Kirkby. That's Mick's younger brother. Wild as all get out, but very talented. This is a cousin. There's the two Eldred boys were Lloyd and Brendan
Yes.
in there, and this is a cousin over there as well. In there.
I was looking for a Frank Sherrard signature.
Oh, I tell you what, there's got to be. I reckon there's stuff, because we had this huge
Bart
box.
Cummings.
Bart Cummings. Yeah, there you go. We had all this huge stuff in, which we gave, and I gave it all to Ronnie, which I know he'd dealt with, but it was all in that old Roneo stuff, the stuff he used to put in, and that made it all sort of fade away, so hopefully it's been photocopied and stuff. But Dad played for Victoria in the amateurs.
Okay.
Back in, I don't know, 1937 or something like that. So this is his picture. Oh, this is just a memorabilia thing, but that one up there. It's him there.
What team would he have played for? I
Played for a team called Darling. It was this team here.
was going to say that.
And one of them and his brother. That was it there. That's the A-grade premiers and amateurs there.
Darling.
Darling, yeah. And they used to play, the in Caulfield, that little ground right next to the what is now Monash Uni. As you come down the Pean Highway, you come off Grange Road, you turn Grange or Jasper, the extension of Jasper.
So
and
it's
you've got
reached in between the railway
Burke
and the
Road.
uni,
yeah, just where
Caulfield Tech.
where Caulfield Tech used to be.
There's an oval there.
There's a
right near the railway line.
little box car of a bloody oval in there. What is it? What did I do with it?
Yeah, Burke Road.
Here it is.
Well, it's actually Grange Road
So
and
that's him there. That's him there. That's his younger brother.
Prince's
Bob.
Highway.
Older brother Bob.
What year would that have been?
Oh, that's mid-30s. Mid-30s. He was born in 17, so he was a ruckman, would you believe? Unbelievable. Shows how small that was. He was lucky to be 6'1". There's a shilling to get him.
So that you scan that one and put that in.
You're late.
Right?
Yeah. You're late to the function.
No,
Yeah.
69.
And this was the footy record 1970, and this was, I don't know whether you know the story about when they won the flags. There was a draw. They had to replay. Yeah, they had to replay.
Tell a story.
They had to replay. There's more guys that are better than me to tell that because I was just.
Well, no,
But they was the seconds were involved. Draw was involved, and they had to. They were the seconds. Oh, geez, got to get this right. First or seconds. Both teams were in the finals. First and seconds were in the finals. In there, and that'll happen in there.
1970.
1970. Yeah, A grade became the premiers when they defeated the unbeaten Dingley in there as well. And then this was a really crappy little thing put out because they had to then because of the seconds, there was a draw in the seconds in there, and they then had to replay it, and the seconds were raging favourites to win, and they got rolled. And the firsts were not, as you can see, they beat an undefeated team. They were not favourites to win, and they won. So there was a week apart. The curiosity is my brother played in both games. He played in the first and in the seconds because you know there's X number of games or whatever you had to play. So in there as well. Here's an article on Juddy. This is just where all the stuff was together. That's all.
Did he marry Paula?
Yeah, he did. They're still married. Kids.
Because we interviewed Jerry Callahan, and Jerry was telling us about some bloke in a car. We didn't know whether we'd put it in there or not.
I'm sure there's plenty of those stories.
He thought, well, the bloke might front up and he's
exactly.
wasn't the woman and he ended up
He may have been married then, you know.
You don't know.
Be very careful.
That was on the launch. Yeah, Person X. That was actually at when the club was the rooms were named after him. That was the ceremony.
So, sorry.
Yeah.
The water got on it, not only just
that's fine.
off, that's what the drops
are. Yeah. Oh, that's Dad. Yeah. I reckon it's just Peter.
He looked like a bloke you would muck around with.
No, he wasn't a bloke you'd muck around with.
Oh.
He wasn't a bloke you'd muck around with, but you know, he was an officer in the army. He was.
Was he in North Africa?
He fought in Syria, in there, and then up in Papua New Guinea, as well.
I think my uncle was in Syria.
Yeah.
I thought he had this glorious war career, but then I looked it up. I think he was effectively in charge of the canteen.
Oh, but he's still in the firing line, mate.
Yeah. He said that just the dust and the dirt and the sand just got everywhere. He said, oh,
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, no, he wasn't, but he was a bigger than life kind of figure, and very good with younger blokes and stuff like that, you know, and you can sort of, I don't know whether you got to Kenny Pierce or not, but have you spoken to Kendrick?
No.
Oh, go if you can. You know who Kendrick is?
Well, he's one of the MCs on the
yeah, well, he's a gun. You know, and he does all this writing and all that sort of stuff. So he is, he was actually, it was a cricket club function, 75th early this year, you know, and he said that referred to himself as one of Ted King's boys, and which is lovely acclamation and so forth like that. So in there, so we had a huge impact, sort of bigger than life figure. Wouldn't take too much bullshit. But having said that,
from that photo.
Yeah. Now this, I would reckon this photo, to me, would be the night of the grand final in 60 when they won the flag, 65. I reckon it's Peter Eldred's place in there, and I reckon in there, and then Jeff Skinner, who was an absolute gun, seriously great footballer, in there. I think it was him. Anyway, one of the guys turned up all wrapped up in crutches and like he'd been in a car accident. That was his sense of humour, walking to the thingo, which is great.
Probably not long before you said with the look.
Yeah, probably that's him walking in the door there now,
Can you put names on any of those others?
Yeah, that's Mel McLaughlin.
Just write the name on there.
Yeah, that's Mel McLaughlin there.
There you go. You can write them down.
Okay, so that's Mel. Now, Mel was also Mel McLaughlin. Now, we got a picture of that premiership side. We got it there somewhere.
Yeah.
That first premiership side. There would be a picture of that premiership side. I'd have a bit more luck. Mind you, then I'm. Oh God!
It's under there, is it?
No, that's the.
No, that's the Amateurs one.
I thought we had one there. I'm 11 or 10 at the time in there as well. So that's Norm.
He's the secretary.
Yeah. Well, a guy called Albert Fargood actually was the original secretary, and he was the secretary of the RSL. The RSL had a huge role in pulling this together. They did all those blokes up there at that time in there. And they held it. The meeting was in, you've got it in your own notes there, but the meeting was in September. I remember going up there September 62, and the joint was full. It was absolutely full of blokes in there, Yeah, and there's a bit of tension around it, sort of sense. There was still, there's a lot of older blokes who returned back from the war in there, and there was sort of a bit of a tension, there's still tension with sort of like between some of the schools and stuff like that. These guys just brought it together. They were fantastic.
Tension?
Tension, a little bit about a tension between, like with the Catholics and the Protestants.
Oh,
There's still a little, don't overstate it. There's still a little bit of that around, but...
I'm old enough to remember it was a bit like that.
Yeah, it was a little bit like that. It wasn't nothing significant, but, the bit of name calling and all that sort of stuff in there.
Half serious.
Yeah, but then this footy club pulled it together, and it was just fantastic. So, you got all these guys sort of mixing together.
So the guys that did that, your dad?
Peter Eldred. Yep.
Albert
Farhood, he was the original one. Then Norm took over, I don't know the exact timing of it, but like it would have been a very short time after that. Then Norm Bear took after that. There was unsung people like Hal Thompson. Like, people probably wouldn't even know. His
name certainly knows very early lists.
Yeah, but see, somebody like Hal would be sort of one of these guys. He would go to the league meeting every Tuesday night, and then what it's like. Goes there at sort of 6 or back at 11 or something like that. Goes down the footy. Very introverted, very quiet guy. He would have done this for. And I'm punting. I reckon Hal would be a life member in there, but real back scenes kind of guy. And there were plenty of those. In there was.
Was Keith Perry? We got a photo.
Keith Perry, up there, yeah. I think Keith Perry, George Struce. I think there was one other. We used to put these footy team things up in the window up there all the time.
George's name gets mentioned, but I don't know if we've got a photo of it.
Yeah, I'm going to show George. There's George there. That's George.
Okay. So what was George's role? Was he...
George became secretary later on as well. Team manager just about for everything that sort of kind of moves.
This is George Druce.
That's George Druce there, there as well. The Nickos would know better than me in the more senior side of things in there, but he was very much pivotal kind of role.
One of the, just thinking about it, fantastic, put all this history, particularly the juniors there, but nowadays when you've got 21 junior teams, to try and capture the latter years of the juniors is almost...
I can really appreciate that. And this is the interesting thing, was really curious because Dad, because a lot of money was paid, not a lot of money, relatively, was paid in the senior sides earlier on when it was in the southeast suburban, and there were some really tough, against teams like Noble Park and Ashburton, and so on like that. The sort of renowned type of things. And a lot of battles, and there weren't any video evidence in those days, and all that sort of process. And so that was a pretty tough time, and there was a lot of money in that. And he had an absolute passion to join the amateurs in there, but they kept getting knocked back time and time again. A guy called Albert, Jack Fullerton was the secretary at the time, and like the amateurs were just like locked in, and you just couldn't get into it.
Haven't changed much.
Yeah, I kind of figured that might be the way, and getting in there. I mean, that would have been his kind of dream or wish. I kind of think was that he would have loved to have a senior side where every senior player had played the juniors for Bowie. In there, that was sort of like a kind of a quiet little dream he had. He used to say to me, he used to call me Dave. He said, Dave, couldn't you imagine that? He said, we have an A-grade premiership side, and every kid's played junior footy at Bowie.
Well, the way it works nowadays is that whilst there's quite a number of it's still homegrown talent, but it's a bit broader than just
Look, I mean,
Cheltenham Juniors, for argument's sake, and like, did Mick go all the way through Bowie Juniors?
Yeah, Mick did. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like my son's come from Cheltenham. There's quite a few that have come through because they don't go to Cheltenham Rosellas, and they don't go to St Bede's. They're Chelt High kids.
Yeah. Are they? My son went to Chelt High, so did my daughter. Yeah.
We got the odd from East Sandringham and a few.
We've brought some kids from Hyatt, but but we still don't recruit the big people.
Yeah,
we're 20k out of the city. People aren't going.
Yeah, and
it's a constant lament of mine that if we could keep all the kids that came through Balmoral Junior to come through and play senior and not go off to the private schools and then play for the old school team, we would be a permanent A-grade side and premiership winning A-grade side year after year.
Yes. Yeah.
Like I think when we played Old Brighton the other week, there were probably 7 ex-Bowie guys playing for us.
For their seniors.
Really?
Yeah. Old Halebury, their captain, and there's a couple of others.
Yeah.
They're seniors.
Yeah. I mean, it's. I mean, that's just. Having said that, what a sensational club! What a bloody sensational club it is, And just to go down there and just to view it from a kind of a distance, and just to walk down there on a Saturday morning and see all the structure around that, and that's what it's about, and that's what these guys wanted to do. It wasn't. It was initially about giving kids a game of footy in the local area, in there. And these guys were, clearly, we're talking not even 20 years after the war, in there. So there's a real sense of camaraderie. They really got it together. There are a couple of blokes who ran off. There's a few stories. A couple of blokes going off the rails, and some of the older blokes' dad and others as well, who come in and sort of help them out. There's a couple of blokes might have, got to know the police a little better than perhaps they would have liked, and a couple of these old blokes went in there and sort of sorted them out, had a few of them around in their homes, and stuff like that, and which I have no doubt still happens today. But it's that real community piece in there. Something everyone should be very proud of.
So when did your dad pass away?
He passed away in 93.
Okay, so 2 years before they went into the amateur ranks.
Yeah. I would have loved to have. I would have loved to have seen it in there. But having said that, I mean, he was really thrilled with what it was and how it was, and all the guys. I mean, but there was plenty of other people, involved. As you were saying, Frank Sherrard, Ron White. These are all guys of my sort of vintage as well. Bill Munro, a range of different guys like that who just sort of came down and helped out. Mind you, the boys didn't mind a drink.
Hasn't changed.
Yeah, really? Go figure. In there, but we used to have, as I said, in our backyard, we used to have this huge tent. Dad used to be in the country roads board, so he used to be the controller of stores, which looked after all the equipment in there. So I used to get these huge tents. It could be a Sunday, maybe, I reckon it was a pleasant Sunday, maybe once a month or stuff like that, and that's how they'd raise their dough and so on like that. Early on, I don't remember early on in the seniors, and I could be wrong, it's only a kid, but I knew a lot of money was being paid. I would have in that sort of thing.
Well, I was talking to Ronnie Nicker. He indicated that when eventually they did start playing players, he said they weren't paying him much, as in compared to other clubs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, they were professional, but they weren't paying them a lot of money. And he said you didn't lose one player at the time the decision was made to go from professional back to amateur. They all stuck with it.
They all stuck with I mean, and I think that was the key bit. I mean, the old days it was used to be just beer tickets. You couldn't pay for grog. You couldn't go up and buy a beer over the counter and get a drink back. You had to buy tickets, and then the tickets, and then you could give the guy a ticket, and then you get a beer like that, which was really two ways. I think there was a piece about some legal stuff, but I think it was a much better way of controlling the dough in there, that you separated the pouring of the grog from the paying of the money in there as well. And that at that time, I think a few of the players, the blokes would be walking around, and they'd pay for them, but they'd be giving them, remember the pink tickets, maybe give them 10 tickets or something for a good game, and a bit of a few bob and stuff like that.
If we have a win on the person, I become very popular for 5 minutes because I'm handing out 2 beer tickets, and then I return back to my normal status of being a boring old fella that happens to be around the club.
Oh gosh! So what about you two guys? I mean, how long have you been involved? What have you been?
No, not terribly long. Both Ian and I got sons playing down there.
Yeah.
As I said, both my sons went through Cheltenham Panthers, and when they finished, they came to play with mates. So my oldest son, he went straight through to under-19s, and then progressed up and played. He played 4 or 5 senior games. He won the reserves best and fairest, and the second son. I don't know how many senior games Will's played, but he and Mick played together in the premiership in 2010.
Really?
And, my oldest son, he was fortunate
They're
enough.
both still under 19s.
Yeah, that's what I like about it. That's a good young kid.
My oldest son, he played in the under-19 premiership in 2008. So, I've been lucky in that regard. And then probably 3-4 years ago, I put my hand up to go on the committee, and my wife's she's on the committee as well as secretary, and Ian joined about 2 years ago onto the committee. So
I'm not even from Beaumaris. I'm from Mordialloc.
Oh, I'm from Mentone, so
it's a story. I'm only there because of my son. He finished up. We had friends teaching at Beaumaris Primary School.
Really? Yeah.
We live literally 150 metres from the Mordialloc Primary School.
Is that right?
But I'd met the principal there, and if he was the principal, I didn't put much store in the school. It's changed now.
Yeah, of course. It changed, doesn't it?
10 years ago, more.
Yeah.
More than 15 years. And we had friends that were actually teachers at Beaumaris, or one of them, and that was at the stage where
who was that?
Depending how many, Jerry Brennan.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Depending how many teachers they had, kids they had, so they needed a few more kids, and they were going to get an extra teacher.
Yeah.
So, and I knew what the school was like. I knew him and some other teachers I'd met socially, so we sent them up there, and so that means then you're locked into all the friends of Beaumaris. So we spent our whole lives just going backwards and forwards to Beaumaris. So he started at the Beaumaris Soccer Club, and then when they can start playing. They can start there at under 5. So he's gone from under 9s right the way through, playing for Beaumaris.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to say that was one of my toughest decisions on a personal note, because when we moved, we lived in Moorabbin, and when Ben, my son, he started playing footy, and he loved his footy. In there, and it would have been so easy to bring him back down here. Of course, because Dad was still involved at that stage. Yeah, it would have been in there as well, and just really sort of sat down and thought it hard. But he was like with it where his mates were. He went to school. He went to the local thing over where you go there. So he ended up playing for the Moorabbin Bears. So in the end, ended up coaching there, and I was president there, and life member and all that sort of stuff. So it's just amazing. But it's
it just proves how hard it is. It proves how hard it is to break that school thing. The guys you go to school with.
Yeah, well, it is, and they're still his mates now, but in there. But it's just sort of one of those things. It's it is what it is. But you follow. You both said you follow your kids. And
the committee, I didn't realise. I just realised I was talking to my brother last night. There's some disease in my family that you have to
be on the committee.
Like my grandmother was president at Mordialloc Football Club for years.
Yeah.
And uncle and dad played there, and other uncles all played there. And my mother was on the committee there, and my brother's on the committee at Rye Football Club. He's been there for it's just some thing in my breeding, I think.
Vital part of it. I think, the fruit often doesn't fall too far from the tree, does it?
No, Vanessa's, my wife, her father was State Secretary of Surf Lifesaving in Tassie. He was on the National Council, so she used to help him out a bit. And then she ended up being secretary at Chalk Panthers for 7 years, I think, and then president for 2 years. And then she did a year after our second son had finished, so she kept going with that. And then we switched over and we thought, oh, beauty, we'll have a break from it all. And then in about 2 years we're on the committee.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. Yeah, so I mean, looking at back at this in there, I mean, there's some other Frank Murphy in there. I know these are just names to people, but there was a really hot, solid called guy, Mick Kelly, who was a really good support to everyone down the club. Frank Sherrard, Frank Reed in there. Peter Eldred, sensational first 3 years, sort of setting all of that up there as well.
Was he vice president? Like your dad took over?
Yeah, from Peter. Yeah.
So did Peter end up being vice president?
Look, you need to. My gut just tells me no, but I could be wrong. But what was important then was they did have it was quite a status position. Was immediate past president. Was kind of like often was sort of stated, and you don't often see it anymore in there as well. But it was still kind of like a role that they played there as well.
Good concept, actually.
Yeah.
You just can't walk off.
Yeah, you just can't walk away.
That's what John Collins is still doing that.
Yeah. Well, that's it's a fantastic it's a fantastic notion there as well. The RSL was pivotal, obviously, as around that, but as you go back and you sort of see like the donations at the time, I was just curious, I had a quick look at the website, £1 from here and £1 from there, and Sea Scouts contributed and the Presbyterian Church
and even
contributed.
St Kilda Football Club and the Collingwood Football Club.
Contributed.
Quite a sizable amount.
Yeah, and it's, but just in those days, and I mean, you see the entrance into here, what was that, a shilling? Actually paid, 20 cents, 20 cents to admission. Kids were free, no doubt. Yeah.
Children 10 cents.
10 cents. Oh, there you go. Making dough there. So that was always a big raising money, raising the raffles, going around all the time. That was always fun. Walking around selling the cards. But in those some of those senior early days, late 60s, early 70s, it could be very strong on it. It could be pretty rough off the ground as well. It wouldn't be the first time there was a couple of brawls. Just in front of the club rooms there amongst the spectators and stuff like that. And one of the sad times was, was it Peter Foley's older brother had come back from Vietnam? It could be Peter Foley, I'm sure, I need to check. But anyway, his brother had come back and he was just standing there, got caught up with it, and he ended up getting a real smack. He got through Vietnam and he ended up getting a whack in the face, in the crowd thing there. But a lot of that was, was sort of a bit of the sign at the time, so it was a pretty volatile time, the early 70s and stuff like that. And,
it was pretty rugged.
Yeah, and then, not that I played, I'd stopped playing footy by then, but, Ashburton, Noble Park, there was some pretty strong, those boys who played then and played then, it was pretty strong and solid. They were close, and a lot of those those earlier, that 1970 side, one of the early other 70 sides, would have had a lot of juniors, who were
And John McNicholas was
Big John,
fantastic.
Yeah. Big John, he went through. He sort of, Dad would have coached him as well. In there, so he coached under 15s for many years. Then he went and coached under 17s, 2 flags in there, and also the flag that they won with Kenny Ansell, Kendrick Peace, had some seriously good other players, Mickey Roberts, Mickey Netterfold. In those sides, that was at McDonald Oval, if I remember right. They played Ormond, who were the gun team, undefeated, in there, and 3 under-15s had come up to play in the under-17s through the finals. I was just coincidentally was coaching the under-15s at the time, and 3 young kids came up in there. One of them by the name of Ross Elwood. He came up and played in the under-17s. Trevor Albury was another one. No, the guy was Healy, I forgot his first name. Anyway, in there, these 3 kids came up, and they'd been pumped by Ormond all year, and Ormond had Stephen Smith playing for them, and 2 or 3 other guys who were going on to play serious league footy in there. And I remember the speech of the under-17s before the game, and Dad was, giving, there was a bit of the rah-rah there, it was, and that sort of stuff. There wasn't too much science behind in there. And he was screaming and shouting. His false teeth came out. He broke on the thing up, and he slammed the bloody table, and all the drinks have been set up half time. They bloody went everywhere, so all the guys charge out of there, and there was it was really serious that they weren't going to get, this looks like they're going to get a nailing, and they'd set up a system with Rossi Elwood's older brother, Mark. Mark, in there, a big tall guy, a really tall guy, now 6'2", 6'3", something like that. Hadn't played a lot of footy, hadn't had a lot of experience. Halfway through the season, Dad asked Ron White to come down, and he said, all I want you to do is to kick long drop kicks, which Ron would do with his, he would come out in his work boots. He used to run a equipment hire company and shorts and stuff like that. And he'd come, he'd coach the under-17, just picture Ron there before. And he'd do these big drop kicks, and he said all he ever wanted to do was young Mark to get in the goal square and just take his mark. So it's a lot, it's like this sort of stuff. But eventually, they started to grab. And then he'd put somebody next to him, and he said, now when kicking to Mark, but don't punch the ball out of his hand, just be body, be present and stuff like that. Yeah. So it went on and on and on like this, and lo and behold, they get into the grand final. He puts Mark into the goal square, and I don't know how many he kicked. It might have been 4, might have been 5, might have been 6, but they had just no idea. And they won by a couple of points in the end. Kenny Peace, young Ansell in there as well. And from some names now, if you have a look at that side, then the under-17 side, 61, 62, the coach, you'll find there's a heap of guys who are still with that football club in there as well. They won by a couple of points in there. And in those days, the losing coach always went into the opposition and thanked them for the game and said, this sort of thing like that as well. So he went into there, I went in with him. And Gary Nico was with me, I think, as well. And Dad went in there, and he was spat at, he was cheered and all this sort of thing, because this mob had just got lost and stuff like that. And he went in there, and he just simply stood up, and he was really abused. He finally got attention, as he would. And he just simply said, humble in victory, gracious in defeat. Walked out. That was it. And it was just incredible. It was a really, the emotions were pumping and all that sort of stuff. But that side, that under-17 side is, probably in many ways, he had a biggest impact across some of those kids, I think, as they went further on in their careers. He seemed to be very close with them. They went and played some.
Was that the one that Michael Roberts was in?
Yeah, Michael Roberts, Michael Netterfold was in it as well. Kenny Ansell, Kendrick Peace, Rossi Elwood, but he was playing 2 or 3 years out of his age group at that stage as well. Robbo. In there, and then a lot of these guys suddenly later on, you suddenly find them playing for Sandy or playing stuff like that. Playing a really good level of footy in there as well. So he had a big impact on especially that group of kids. I reckon he had a huge impact on it in there as well. And because he loved it, all the time. He was, he's had people around. Always had a selection night it was usually a Wednesday night for the junior sides, and usually get around the assistant coaches and the team managers and have a few beers and pick the side, go out and go up on Friday mornings, because the senior sides was picked. They go up Friday mornings up on the windows and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, we tried to reintroduce that at the local butcher shop, wasn't it? Which lasted for a while, but didn't think he got any clientele out of it.
Well, it's the internet. I see all the great work that Ian does and you guys do on the websites. It's absolutely fantastic, in there. And so why would you sort of be doing with that?
That's what I'll do, Phil.
Yeah, so you're obviously on the Shark Alert list.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. And I really do enjoy that. It's fantastic.
And I got an email from Ken Peace. He said, if you can't put the teams, he'd asked me last year, why can't you put the teams in selected order in their positions? And I said, because the coach has asked me not to. He
Yeah.
just wants them. He
Yeah.
said, I can put them up however I want, but he doesn't want them in the selected positions. And he said, anyway, so that was all right. Anyway, a couple of weeks ago, he sent me an email saying, if you can't put, I've asked you for it, if you can't put them in the selected positions, then unsubscribe me. I don't want to get back in. So now I have a special list for Thursday nights.
Yeah.
Minus Ken Peace on the thing, so I click on that and it goes out to everyone except him, but he still gets the ordinary one. Like the.
Have you met Ken?
Yeah.
You're in very good hands with Ken. Very good hands. Yeah, he's he'll do a great job on the night.
So he and Michael Roberts are emceeing.
Are they?
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
So how many we got coming?
380.
80 or something.
Really?
Yeah, sold out.
Fantastic.
Well, it turned, yes. We could have gone to 600 and we weren't sure, but as it turns out, we may well have gone 600. But anyway, it's sold out now.
Yeah.
The risk we took was, I think if we went for 600, we had to get 440 or something minimum. We thought, you know, like you had to pay for it. We thought, no, that's sticking our neck out too much. Yes, it is, despite the fact you kept promoting the thing, people are now coming up and going, oh, can we have some tickets? There aren't any.
Yeah.
So, and you know, there's been a bit of an issue around the fact that there's certain people you think, well, they should be there, and therefore they've reserved tickets.
Yeah.
They still haven't paid, but you get to a point and say, well, it's only so long you can hold out.
Nothing changes. Nothing changes. Yeah.
Where there's other people who've given their credit card details.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of running it, doing it,
Pushing it
there's
through.
the money.
Yeah. Oh,
Just sort of on a waiting list.
Yeah.
So, we're still working on it, but we've got those jumpers. There's just some. Originally, we thought what we were charging for it would cover the cost of it, but now we're locked into it. They're sort of going. So you want some screens up, won't you?
Yeah.
Well, that'll be 700 or 1,000 bucks.
Really? Yeah.
And you'll need microphones, won't you? And you go, well, 125 each.
Yeah, bastards.
And you sort of go, well, what did you think? Someone's going to get up there and go cooey like that for a whole night?
Yeah.
So,
and it's a sizable amount of money. All the extras.
Oh, they are. That's what
once
they
you're
get
locked in.
Yeah. I mean,
there's even like table runners and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It's like thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Thousands of dollars.
So we'll be auctioning those jumpers off. We've got a lunch. We've locked in Damien Hardwick for a lunch at a restaurant in St Kilda with the guy Michael Quinlan, so 2 people can go along to that. We've got.
When's that on? When are these on? When's
the lunch
on the same day? Is it or you say?
No,
you
say
an auction item.
Oh, sorry.
We've got that. We've got. We're drawing the raffle, which is the for the Volvo car.
Can you get tickets for that, but not at the club? I mean, how do you? I mean, I see they sell them
Volvo
on Thursday night. But what happens if, I'm not there on a Thursday night, but I want to buy a ticket? How do I do that?
Oh, you can stop into the club any time.
Yeah.
And get those across the bar.
Okay.
Get them from one.
They're open every night of the week.
Yeah.
I'd say you one now, except I haven't.
No, that's right. That's fine. No, that's fine. That's fine.
I've got a membership card in the car. I'll get you. So what are the other things we've?
They're great value, those raffle tickets, I reckon. $10. There was a bloke, there was some blow in yesterday, it was there with his kids with Auskit. And he's sitting there and the kids having a sausage and that before they left. And he was from, where he'd come from, down Chelsea, Urfa, but he's just moved into the area. So I'm talking to him and his kids are going to come. He's gone, how do you get a Volvo car to raffle, a club like this? I thought, well, that's our major sponsor, we've got good sponsors.
Yeah.
So he said, oh, buy a few of those, that looked good value. Because the other prizes are, 3,000, 1,000.
Yeah, it's good value, all right. Yeah, they're good value.
So, and what we've tied to the card, I mean, the main reason we had the card was for licensing requirements. But we've managed to go to a few people and say, well, can you give a discount to members? The good guys give us 10% off, which I used the other day, and I went around the Blackrock shops and some of the people have signed on there. The other prizes we've got.
There's a $3,000 voucher. This is the raffle. Oh, you're talking about on the night.
Yeah,
there's another
bunch of Bill Fergs. We're trying to line up Jason Blake, and I think I've got a contact with Nick Rewalt, which I'm hoping we can. But if it doesn't eventuate, we'll grab somebody else. We've got like an hour training session with Colin Sylvia for a kid, you know.
Yeah,
do that
fantastic.
for a party or something.
Teach them how to drink.
Yeah, you need to be careful. What are we training him in?
What else have we got? We think we'll be able to get some black caviar silks that are signed in front.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
that horse is running.
That's
on the
right.
night.
That night, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
one or two.
At the end of the night,
Yeah.
I think that everyone's going to be going just down to the sporting.
Yeah, fantastic.
So yeah, we've got some quite good prizes. We're getting one of the boys. He's playing with Geelong at the moment, Taylor Hunt,
Yeah.
to get Cameron Wing and Chris Scott to sign a Geelong jumper, and we'll frame that up.
Yeah.
So there's
Is the framing's expensive though, isn't it? Can you get it done pretty cheaply?
we use them a fair bit down at the
Oh,
concourse.
okay.
They give us a good discount.
All right.
Like,
Okay. So yeah.
it won't. I mean, the guy that's Chisholm Gannon, who are real estate guys who've organised the
Dinners.
one of the the one with Damien Hardwick. He said, well, typically they go for $2,000 to $3,000.
Yeah.
The jumpers, I was talking to Ross Harford. He's
Rossi, there's a gun. He's huge. Yeah.
So I said to Ross, you're going to put a bid in for the 65 one, and he said, I don't know if I'd put any more than 800 in. He said, but Jeff Skinner might put more in or something. So hopefully we'll raise a bit of money.
I'm sure you will.
Pay for all the extras.
Sure you will. Well, I think the thing that I suppose as well is if people know too. I mean, people know there can be raffles, but if you know something significant like that, you think,
I will.
Yeah.
I've got to just give Ian a list. And we'll be putting it on the website.
Yeah.
And taking off bids before the
Sure.
night.
Sure.
Funnily enough, when I was talking to they call themselves the Blue Dog Gallery in the concourse, I was just around there yesterday just checking a few things, and I was telling them about the price. They said, well, you take this, and it's a print, and it's a Norman Lindsay nude called, I didn't know what the name of it was.
Yeah.
I've been trying to sort of look it up, and then he sent me the thing through and said, it's called Spring's Innocence. So I thought, well, I'll look it up and see what it is on eBay, and like anything from, even though it's a print, $200 to $400.
Yeah.
Just for the print?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, it's a bit sort of, definitely nude. There's several. There's the movie The Sirens. It was.
Okay, based on that. Yeah.
It's been
Fantastic.
sitting in the Bommy Pulse now. I've got it at the back, but.
I might run off and say that because in the website you've got the photo of that team, haven't you?
Yeah.
The one that first senior team. I might see if I can't match some of the names up in there because it's probably first and seconds as well. But
you haven't got that photo?
no.
Would you like us to send it to you?
Yeah.
To you?
Yeah. That would be great. I'm just trying to. That would be great. Thank you.
Just for family purposes.
I'm thinking that might be Frank Sherrard at the back there. I'm not sure.
It's amazing how the ink runs as soon as the water goes on.
Yeah,
they do that, don't they?
Pigment, it's just dye ink.
Yeah. Also,
I saw on your what's the business you do, Edmund?
I'm in. I work in. I run leadership and management and development programs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I do. I work at Melbourne Business School, part of the University of Melbourne. Also run my own business as well around that. So I work with. Curiously, I work with the AFL at the moment. I do a lot of work with them since about 2007. So I work with. I've worked with Jason in there in a different context in his role there. So we
Does he know the connection?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't overplayed it with him in that sort of sense in there as well. So he's there's the side there. So I work. I've done about 10 or 12 programs with him. So that's working with the administrators. And all the league clubs, so all the now 18 league clubs, and then the administrators. I work with Cricket Australia. I work with James and his exec team. We do some work there as well about sort of part of the structure and restructuring stuff that's going on. A couple of years ago, we got involved in all of that as well. Fletcher Building over in the UK. working up in Hong Kong, work overseas with it as well. Do some stuff there, which is great. So it really is good fun in there. So that sort of takes me. I do quite a bit. I'm currently working with Geelong Footy Club. So I'm working with Brian Cook and his exec team at the moment in there. Worked with him in 2006.
He must be a good operator, Brian Cook.
He's a gun. He is a gun.
You'd say if any signing Geelong had ever made, it'd be him.
Oh, I have to be. I mean, they were the curious thing, they're about 9,000, no, not 9 million, been 6 and 8 million in debt when he first came there, in there, and just about to lose, unbelievably about to lose the Ford sponsorship, as well, and turned around. But what's eerily similar to me is Richmond. Richmond it's nearly a carbon copy of what Geelong were like in the early 2000s. Yeah, I reckon anyway. In my opinion, just structured a real clarity of role and purpose there as well. So, this is going to be hard, isn't it? I'm reckoning that's somebody like Richard Murphy in there. I reckon
it's like David Bowie.
He does a bit, doesn't it? They're pretty good looking bunch of boys, aren't they? I bet they knew it too. As well. Let's try. And Mick Kirkby, Mick Kirkby, that's him there. You'll hear my generation of people talk about him like, he was an absolute gun. Wow, he's unbelievable.
3 BNFs?
Oh yeah, and he would have. He won 2 competition BNFs back to back. Okay. If memory serves me right, I think both in the under 7. Oh, could be right. Under 17s, and he had an uncanny ability. He's the first guy I ever saw actually take a ball off a guy's boot as he was kicking it. He just was uncanny in there as well. Outstanding player. And probably like a lot of junior kids as well, his kicking wasn't all that good because he won the ball so much, in there as well. And Jeff Skinner, well, he was absolute sensation.
Kicked 100 and something drives.
Yeah, good team player too. Good guy around the club. I remember as a junior, we used to have pie nights, and literally used to have the old pie nights and stuff like that. And, this is talking, I'm a 10-year-old or something, or 11-year-old, and he would sort of come in there, and he was playing with the seniors, so he was a big hero and all that sort of stuff, but he'd come around, he'd talk to the kids and all that sort of stuff like that as well, Always remember that very clearly.
I
great impact.
Gather from Ronnie, he'll probably be one of the people who were interviewed on the night.
Oh, great.
And he phoned me up, I was actually on the train coming in, and he's just telling me that he booked his tickets and whatever, and he literally, I'm listening on the phone and he's telling me, stories about back when. I thought, well, if they had a recorder or something.
Yeah.
He said that they used to, after training on a Thursday night, a few of the boys had come back to his place. He didn't live far from the ground, and he said his family weren't that wealthy, and they'd have something to eat while they were there. His mum would go without a meal because she could. That was the food she had set aside for the family.
She's
so,
amazing. Yeah. And that was same. A younger brother, Peter Skinner, as well. But Jeff was also outstanding. I mean, he's an Australian champion in skin diving. There's a lot of the guys went through in there. This guy, it's Bruce Smith. He was I'm pretty sure he was in the team of the captain of the team of the 40 years in there. He's a big guy. He used to play for. He went and played for Sandringham after it. There's a number of these guys did as well in there. And one of these guys might be Gil Lockhart too, because he played for Carlton. Played a couple of games for Carlton and Port Melbourne. He played a lot of games at Port Melbourne. In there. I'm not helping you with these names here. I'm sorry. There's those photos here. Because these could be some of the twos as well, but just about to punt that. That's Frank Sherrard there as well. And you need his signature.
Frank's.
Yeah. I tell you what, had signatures on that in there as well. I reckon if you went to the photo of the first under 17 side, Frank would have been coaching that side, and you might get half a chance whisper him on the side.
This is where we got Frank Reeds from.
Yeah, so it may well be, and often they might be in the back or something like that.
Oh, okay.
As well, but it would be, yeah, it'd be great. But I'd take it, you know, and some of the stuff that I know, there's got a huge box to Ronnie in there. There could be some signature stuff in there as well, but you know.
Johnny Lawler said he was going to have a look as well.
Yeah,
He had
yeah.
a whole lot of stuff that gave it to him. I might have been Jerry Colour.
Yeah. Worked around through those there as well. But this, I mean, this guy played Gil Lockhart. He played AFL. Yeah, played at Carlton. In there, Brucey Smith. He was a gun at Sandy. He played up at Sandringham as well. In there. I saw, it was interesting. I saw on that initial list that I saw John Hennessy or Jay Hennessy anyway. In there as well. Yeah.
He was a cousin.
Oh no, there's another.
Was that? Yeah. It was because John played footy, but he would have been in his 20s then, I would have thought. So was it whether it was his dad or whether it was him?
Reddish curly hair?
Yeah,
lean sort of guy. Is he the guy with the Pluto filling with the smoke and with the Pluto filling up a beer in it might be in Eldred's backyard?
Yeah.
This is one of the photos that we've got.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. And somebody said that's John Hennessy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if it was, I mean, if the Eldred's back, I'd be keen to have a look at that photo because I could probably distinguish whether it was our backyard, but I reckon it was because
that's where this has come from.
That's Peter Eldred's house.
I'm happy to send.
This was, and I'd
send
be
a few of those along.
Yeah, look, please do.
The ones have you seen the newsletter? The last couple of newsletters, I've put a couple of photos in.
Yeah, okay.
They're in the group of photos.
Yeah, all
right. One of them's there next to a tin shed. There's Peter Eldred. Norm Beer, is it?
Yeah, Norm Beer.
There,
yeah.
And we
not
think
the most
it was
salubrious looking thing.
And there's another photo.
That'd be my backyard, I reckon.
There's a conversation next to the incinerator.
There was another photo with because I put the comment. I was interested. There was two guys with glasses of milk. Everyone else has got beers. It looked like a pleasant Sunday morning or something.
Yeah, I'd have a look at that. If you're talking about a tin shed and incinerator,
well, that was in the
big
newsletter.
44-gallon drum thing.
Yeah. That was in the newsletter last.
Yeah. Well, the curious thing is the Eldred's fence is the back of our fence.
Okay.
We live behind each other, and I must on this day when the footy club went, and
was this Douglas Street?
And we're in Folkestone.
Okay.
And I remember I was over at the Eldred's. It was a Sunday morning over at the Eldred's because Brent and I were good mates, and Mr. Eldred, Peter was going off to this meeting and there's a footy club thing, and I jumped over the fence. I saw Dad. And Dad was out in the garden weeding, which is most unusual thing, gardening was not. And I said, "Oh, Dad, you know, Mr. Eldred's going off to this footy thing." And he jumps up. The first time I heard him swear, he said, "Oh shit!" And he jumps up and hits his head on the bloody window. So he's got his head here. Off we go, and that's when we turn up to the meeting on the Sunday. But quite clearly, these guys had got together because that meeting what was being called by a group of guys prior to that, of which was Peter Eldred and Albert Farhood and Dad and a few of the others as well.
Yeah, in the video that was done with Peter, he said that Bruce Ruxton overheard them talking.
Yeah.
And at the next committee meeting, he said, "Go for it."
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
Go ahead and do it.
Yeah. If you want to start up a football club, you have the full support of the Beaumaris RSL.
It was just, I think, just having that key pivotal place there. And I suspect that a Friday night or a Saturday night at the RSL in those days, the place would have just been packed, absolutely packed. And these guys, and I think it was good for the guys too. I suspect that, many of them, Dad was playing, up until then, Dad was playing 2 days. He was playing golf every Saturday and Sunday in there as well. So I reckon it was great for the blokes as well. Not only was it giving the kids some structure, but I reckon it was giving these guys some structure and some meaning in what they were doing, and they really got passionate about the whole thing.
So is it that we've got a photo from Peter that looks like, I think it is the first meeting. You know, there's a whole heap of kids.
Well, I'm just
I was there.
Thinking I might have those in the car. I reckon because I've got my laptop in the car. I reckon I've got those.
Yeah, once you go, I've got time. You want to? You guys like another cuppa?
I'm right with a coffee.
Yeah.
Well, this is going to run out, so you've got most of what you want.
Yeah, sure.
There's about 4 minutes left.
Yeah.
I'll just race out and.
Yeah, I'm putting it on as I said, the DVD will be playing in the background. We'll turn the volume down, but we start with the history of the club and all that sort of stuff. And I've got a Mac computer and it's almost grinding to a halt with the stuff.
With all the so much capacity
in it. So I reckon it'll end up being a 2-disc effort. But if we can, fingers crossed, we get it going, we'll sell them on the night for $15 and just say here's the history of the club.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great.
But I think I'm gonna have to take the Friday off before the night because I'll have all these bloody jumpers in a frame and all this other stuff to organise.
You've got to get them up there, not just that, and then to set the place up. What room's it in up there? Did you know? Is it
what do they call it?
The Palladium room?
Yeah, but I think it's, as I said, literally, they must be dividing it in two. On one side's Brisbane Lions, and we're on the other.
Yeah.
Which, as I said, it's funny, isn't it?
Certainly from this context it is, yeah.
Yeah, if there's a rendition of the song, so you might know which one.
Yeah, they are actually the same. But actually, the Brisbane Lions song, there are slight variations to it. The melody is the same, but the words are slightly different from the old Fitzroy song.
Oh, right.
And the old Fitzroy's, the Bo Morris song is truly the old Fitzroy song.
Yeah.
In there.
Well, it certainly got sung with gusto yesterday after they beat. They thumped Ajax.
Yeah.
Ajax had come up from C Division and.
It's a big jump, isn't it? Isn't that a huge jump? I mean, C to B is huge, and
we think. Fingers crossed. It's highly likely this will be the first year ever that we'll play finals in B Division.
Really?
I mean,
we've broken 8 points clear now.
8 points clear. We've had 5 wins and 2 losses. We lost to the top side by a point.
Wow.
We haven't played the second top side yet, but they played Ivanhoe, who we beat by 130 points.
Ivanhoe Grammar or Ivanhoe, because there's 2 Ivanhoe.
Old Ivanhoe Grammar, old Ivanhoe.
Yeah.
They didn't, they beat them, but not as convincing as we did. So, I mean, unis are always difficult to sort of work out how good they are because they vary from year to year.
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? Yeah, and it's difficult.
We beat them both times last year.
Yeah. And your boys are still playing, obviously? Yeah?
Well, Mick's broken his hand, so he's out for a while. My eldest, he did a Camp America a couple of years ago. So he hasn't resumed. Yeah, and it's almost been 2 years since he's played, so I don't know whether he will or not. But my youngest boy, he was running around yesterday.
Yeah.
You push it up for the BNF this year, I thought. One of them. Possible. This will be the trick. Where on earth I've got those?
There was, just thinking of sorry to interrupt, thought just flashed into my mind. Remember we were talking about the ground, the size of the ground. There was one year we got struck by lightning. The clubrooms got struck by lightning and they had to be extended, and they were just two, like a visitor's room, and the room there got struck by lightning. And another time it absolutely poured with rain, and we arrived down on the Saturday morning to find that there is a skiff, yacht out there.
A yacht?
A yacht. A yacht. One of those I haven't got quite the right word for it, but a skiff, something that's got a lowish, it hasn't got a big sort of rudder and keel, in there as well. And there were guys in there, and it was, if in those days we had the pole, the posts and that, and the goal umpire's flags used to go in it, but now they just wrap the strapping around it. So there was this sort of thing about that. So the goal posts would have been, hip height, I suppose, for the where the flags would have gone in, roughly about that. For the goal umpire, used to put 2 in one side and 1 in the other, in there, and the water at the tennis club end was up to the height of that. In there. Yeah, it was unbelievable. Because it was always just such an area. And there's no doubt through Bo Morris, there's rivers the underground rivers that flow through there. And that was amazing just to sort of come down and play. I mean, obviously, it's been raining, you'd be doubtful about whether you're ever going to